Hello, and welcome back to Diecast Graveyard. My name is Paul, and I appreciate you showing up today. Today we've got an incredibly cool build and something that's very rare. The Hot Wheels Fleet Side Sky Show. Now this truck slash car was adapted to launch an airplane off the back of it. This was released by Hot Wheels in 1970 and was only made in the United States. Now the hardest part to get for these things are the little airplanes that go on the back, and if you can find one, especially an original one, you're very, very lucky, and it will definitely help you with your restoration. So sit back, grab your favorite adult beverage, and join in today as we restore this Hot Wheels Fleet Side Sky Show. Let's go ahead and get started with today's build.
It's time to start the autopsy.
Here I'm going to drill out the post, and I'm going to use a 1/16 inch drill bit. But the center of the post is very hard to find, so I go ahead and mark it with a little Sharpie marker so I know exactly where to put the automatic center punch. And there's today's tip from your Uncle Paulie. Again, we'll use the 1/16 inch drill bit to get started.
Someone is being exhumed.
Once we get the 1/16 inch drill bit and we get it started, we're going to finish it off with a 5/32 to get off the little mushroom cap on the end. Now when you pry this apart, take your time with it because you don't want to damage the wheels or the bearings or the axle when you go to take this thing apart. So please be careful when you do that. Here's the interior, and the glass definitely needs to be clean, and the glass needs to be polished. But it's still in good shape. Here's the base, and the base is in excellent shape. We definitely need to polish it up. We'll use some flits for that. We'll have to touch up the grille on the front and the lights in the back. Now here's the body. This is pretty wild. Now it looks like a standard Fleet Side body, but something here I'm going to show you. Here's an actual Hot Wheels Fleet Side. Now notice in the back of the orange one there's a little slot in the back. That little slot accommodates holding on the launch wrap for the plane, and it's got the two little holes in the back too. If it doesn't have the little hole in the front there, in the front of the bed, then it's not a Fleet Side and you can't attach the ramp. So that's the difference between the normal Fleet Side and the Sky Show version. Let's go ahead and move on. Here we're going to take the body and throw it in some citrus strip. Make sure you coat the inside and out because we're definitely going to do a color change. I'm not too crazy about the orange on this one, so we're going to go ahead and strip it all down, and we're going to paint it back with a Windex blue. We'll let it sit for a couple hours and it'll be ready to go. Got it all cleaned up and polished. Here we're going to use Windex blue from the Redline shop. Check out what John has to offer at redlineshop.com. Follow the directions on the bottle for mixing up your paint.
Meanwhile, back in the graveyard.
Once we got it painted up, I found a picture of another Sky Show and I measured the decals on the sides. Now notice how the decal in the back of the Sky Show is facing backwards towards the back of the car. I never cared for that. So when I designed my decals, I fixed that and made them going towards the front of the car. That's just a little quirk that I have as far as the way decals are designed. So I went ahead and adjusted that and fixed it in my honest opinion. So I recreated these decals from scratch, and this is what I came up with. When you put them on, get them centered where you want them. Use a Q-tip and squeegee out the excess fluid. Now you can use some microset here. It will help you put the decal on and move it around until you get to where you want to. And it'll also help to float the decal. Now I lined up these decals with the A-pillar on the very front of the car. So when I do it on the other side, I know exactly where to put the end of the decal. Now notice here, like I said, the Hot Wheels logo is facing towards the front. And when you flip the car around, the other decal will also face towards the front. I just think it looks a lot better. Again, make sure you squeegee out the excess water. Now you're going to let these sit probably overnight. They should set for at least 8 hours to dry. If you clear coat over the top of these decals and they're still wet or damp underneath, it's going to peel away from the car and it's going to ruin your finish. When I finish putting on the decals and I'll let them dry properly, I'm going to protect the decals with a good coat of my Diecast Graveyard 2K Clear. Now you can get this at diecastgraveyard.com. It'll make your car look like glass, and if you're protecting your decals, the decals will be covered and they will be protected and your car will look absolutely fantastic. Check out diecastgraveyard.com for your 2K Clear. It was a lot of fun designing these decals to go on this car. Now here you see me using the tweezers to move them around. You may want to use a toothpick or something like that because these tweezers will dig into your decal and could damage them. Make sure you blot out the excess water. And again, I lined the front of these decals up with the A-pillar on the very front of the car. That way they're in the exact same location on both sides of the car. That's looking fantastic. Let's go ahead and move on.
I love how the moonlight shines over the mausoleum.
Here I've got all the pieces. I got the body, which turned out fantastic. The decals are great, and the 2K Clear protecting them is fantastic. Here's an old one. I also went in and I cleaned up the logo, the Hot Wheels logo on the back. And there I'm showing you again that the decal was facing in the opposite direction. I didn't care for that. But that looks great. I go in, like I said, and I sharpen up the decals to make sure that they look a lot better. Some of the other ones you get are really out of focus or mushy, and I don't care for that. Here's the interior. That looks fantastic. That's all cleaned up. Here's the windshield. We polished that up. That looks good. Here's the base. Detailed the front and detailed the back. Now I also found online an aftermarket launch wrap, which I got off of eBay. And this is what I needed in order to complete this build. Here's a plane I got from my friend Daryl up at Beard Does Diecast. He had an extra one. He sent it to me, and that's going to complete the build. Let's go ahead and give my creation life.
Life! Life, do you hear me? Give my creation life!
And here's what we started with. This Hot Wheels Fleetside Sky Show. This was released in 1970, and again, it was only released in the United States. It came in several colors. And again, the hardest part about restoring one of these is finding one of the planes. If you can find one, you're going to have a lot easier time restoring one of these units. But this was a great time. I truly enjoyed it. And here's the finished product. Look at how beautiful this turned out. The Windex blue that I used down there looks fantastic. The ramp fit absolutely perfect. The plane goes on there nice. And it turned out really good. I'm very proud of this restoration. Now, like I always say to you folks, you can do this too. Practice what you want to do here as far as drilling out the posts down cars, etc. I recommend you practice on some mainline cars first before you get into the red lines, which are a heck of a lot more expensive. But take your car apart, start out by doing some simple wheel swaps, and if you have any questions, go ahead and reach out to me in the comments because I do read every single comment and I do my best to answer everybody's questions. But this was truly a lot of fun, and I hope you enjoyed it today. Now, if you got anything out of these videos, please mash that like button, hit that subscribe button. There's a lot more videos coming out in the near future. Here's a glamour shot of the car, and I'm definitely proud to add this to my collection. This was truly a lot of fun. Now here's the actual car. Let's launch it. And it works. That just completes the project. I'm very happy with this restoration. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for joining me today on Diecast Graveyard. We've got a lot more videos coming up in the future, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And thank you again for joining me here today. If there's something you'd like to see, put it in the comments. Thank you, and cheers.